What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Listening as well, everybody on ESPN Kansas City. Appreciate all of you. Of course, we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. So shout out to all you guys. All the likes, all the subscriptions, the comments, they really mean a lot. So appreciate you all. With Elijah Schmidt running the operations and Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman taking you through another full show today on Rock Chalk Sports. It is game day for Team USA. Really excited to see what it's going to look like down here in just a little bit, as there's a watch party downtown in Lawrence, and we know that the Red Lion in particular is a really popular soccer bar, and they're likely going to be packed to the gills, but Mass Street in general is going to be buzzing big time. USA against Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32 of the World Cup. Winner goes to the round of 16. What an awesome experience this has been so far, and hopefully it continues to be so as Team USA hopes to continue this, I don't know if I'd say magical run yet, but it's on the brink of a magical run.
I mean, it's been incredible, so far. They've only lost one, and really that was against the B team, right? I mean, they wound up playing against Turkey A, but, you didn't see Pulisic, you didn't see Balogun. You saw some other guys getting in there just because I think they kind of needed the rest as well. And I think there's no way that we don't see Pulisic today, just because of the fact that this is the knockouts and this is when you need to step up for your country. So, I'd say magical. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't put the term Cinderella on it.
Not yet.
But it has been incredible and probably exceeded the expectations of everybody involved.
Well, perhaps if the USA is able to advance to the round of 16 and then maybe they knock off a team like Spain or a team like Portugal, maybe then we'll be talking about Cinderella. But right now, the Cinderella has been Cape Verde, without question. They got 3 draws and somehow punched their ticket to the round of 32.
Talk about Paraguay or
how about Algeria?
Yeah,
Algeria. It's been a lot of fun. Algeria, they're in action tomorrow at 10 p.m. England, a little bit earlier today, survived a scare. That was surprising. They're seeing them down early against Congo, and they came back and won 2-1. Harry Kane with the game winner for England, so they advance to the round of 16. They're going to take on Mexico, a team who is into the round of 16 for the first time since 1986, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of really good soccer teams advance, and a lot of really good soccer teams have not advanced, to be blunt, particularly when you look at some of the teams that got eliminated earlier this week in Netherlands and Germany. So, Team USA, we'll talk about that here in the opening segment. Going to be joined by Jack Ritter from 24/7 Sports. Next segment, Jack is going to fill in for Henry Greenstein, who's across the pond enjoying himself in Italy. So appreciate Jack heading over to the Kansas Nation studio.
Did they have surfing out there in Italy?
He's going to have to bring the surfing to them. I think
I think so. Teach them a thing or two.
They do, if I'm not mistaken, have an ocean.
They do.
So he can access it. However, hopefully he is well equipped to do so. Took all of his longboards, his Speedos, checked those on the plane, whatever he needed to do. After that, we're talking the NCAA 5-year eligibility rule. This came out over the weekend. I mean, it's kind of been a big story. We haven't touched on it in detail, and we're going to continue to talk about it as this week rolls on Rock Chalk Sports. But it's a big deal. It affects, of course, every college athlete pretty much, unless you're in the class of 2020 or 2021. I think those are the classes that kind of got screwed. They didn't get the extra year, and they also didn't get this kind of retroactive thing that gives a lot of these recent classes an extra year.
Yeah. I think 2020, I think everybody got one, but 2021, I don't think so. So if you're in the class
maybe
of
20, it was 21 and 22.
Yeah, 21 and 22, I think are the ones that kind of got the short end of the stick there, just because there was they were just kind of fit in the middle of like, oh, well, you don't get the COVID year. You also don't get the 5-year eligibility thing. So they're just, that's going to be the last of an era, I guess. But I think it's fun. I mean, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this in terms of, moving forward and the way you think this is going to work. My number one thing was, what are they going to call the classes now? So you have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, but then like 5th year?
Probably just go super senior, right? That's what they did during COVID. They might. Yeah. Who knows?
That's true.
Interesting, though. Like, I never thought growing up that this would be a thing. It was just always 4 years. That's what it is. And with all the red shirts, medical red shirts, the 22-year-old freshmen or everything we've run into, they've come up with a new plan. And I think it's pretty much holistically been accepted in a positive light. I haven't heard anything. I mean, obviously, there are going to be haters no matter what, but everybody agreed something had to change, and this is at least a change that semi makes sense.
For sure. And it's not crazy to think that people can graduate in 5, maybe even 5.5 years with only one bachelor's degree. It's certainly happened before. It happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah, the old victory lap. They'll call it victory lap year. KU Mailbag segment. Dan, what's some of our takes from some of our favorite fans?
Man, yeah, this is going to be a fun one. We have, by the way, 3 different LeBron, 4 different LeBron questions. No, just 3. We have 3 different LeBron questions in this. As it came out yesterday while we were recording the show that LeBron James is moving on from the Lakers. Shams Charania, by the way, he's so funny in the way that he words things, where he said, LeBron James will continue playing for the 2026-2027 NBA season.
Yeah,
not with the Lakers, and you're like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Like, the way that he words things is interesting sometimes. I think it's a little bit clickbaity, but yeah, LeBron's not going anywhere, or LeBron is not staying in LA. He's wanting to go somewhere else. So, a couple of LeBron questions in there, a lot of good stuff. KU Najee asked a couple of fun trivia questions as well. I always love it when KU Najee chips in. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, KU Mailbag, one of our favorite segments, and we'll be doing it despite not having Greeny here in studio. We know that he likes to chime in on that at times as well. So a full show for you today on Kansas Nation. And speaking of which, kansasnation.com, the place to go. We're going to have coverage, like I said, tonight of Team USA. We're going to see what we can get for tomorrow's Team Algeria game as well, as they're going to be up against a challenge, but they're seemingly beloved as much as anybody here in the Lawrence area. That game's not till 10 tomorrow, so it might be a little trickier. Lawrence should be very much a buzz tonight, though, for the 7 p.m. kickoff, USA against Bosnia. But kansasnation.com and across all our socials, the place to be.
Yeah, check us out on kansasnation.com. All of our shows are going to be on there as well. You have Haney and the Hawks, Between Two Fountains, the Inside KU podcast with Laney Boger, Legends of Kansas with BMAC and Chris Harris. A ton of great content for you, all on kansasnation.com. You can find all of our shows on there. And be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at The Kansas Nation, at The Kansas Nation on YouTube as well, and Kansas Nation on Facebook. Got over 13,000 followers on Facebook. So shout out to all of you. You guys make this happen. Really appreciate it. But yeah, be sure to check out all of our stuff and spread the good word about Kansas Nation.
I see your 13,000, and I raise you 1,000 as we have eclipsed 14,000.
We have gotten over 14,000.
So how about that? USA and Bosnia-Herzegovina tonight, the round of 32. It's no longer pool play. It's no longer a situation where, if you draw, it's okay. It's the real deal. It's the classic March Madness type bracket that we all love. Win or go home. Of course, you're going to get extended time in the situation where you're tied after 90 minutes plus the extra time. And then after that, the most painful thing in all of sports, but one of the most exciting things in all of sports as well, penalty kicks. Perhaps that'll be on the docket for Team USA. Of course, they're hoping to have success in the first 90 against Bosnia. They should have Christian Pulisic. You've talked about that a little bit. And before we look at what Bosnia has done, Pulisic, of course, had a calf injury that he suffered a little bit earlier. He did come back and play in the loss to Turkey. He played 77 minutes in total in the World Cup. But yeah, it was the 4-1 win over Paraguay where he left. It's good that the USA put themselves in a very good position to where they haven't needed to rely on Pulisic perhaps when he was not 100%. And like you said, Balogun got some time off as well. So USA should be fully equipped against kind of a pesky Bosnia-Herzegovina team.
Yeah, like I said, you had a lot of guys get some rest during that Turkey A game, but you brought in Pulisic with like 65 minutes left to go, and you can just tell, even though he was injured, you're trying to get him a little bit more playing time just because he hadn't played since, like the first half of the Paraguay game or whatever it was, right? So you try to get him in there, try to get him a little bit of a playing experience, and he immediately changed the game with the aggressiveness that he had, with his quickness, with his ball striking ability, right? Christian Pulisic changes the game immediately whenever you put him in. So probably going to see him today. That's certainly going to be a name to note, right? Tyler Adams didn't play in the game against Turkey as well. That's going to be another guy. He's actually on the cover of the Sports Radio 810 World Cup Preview magazine that we've been handing out all over town. But Bosnia and Herzegovina is a really talented team. They have an 18-year-old Karim Alaj-Begovic, a really nice player as well. They're really fast. They've done a really good job in terms of, keeping with some of the big boys in the World Cup. You know what I mean? And they were able to get past. They weren't one of the top 2 teams in their grouping. They were one of those final 8 guys who managed to advance. But again, I mean, there was a pretty solid grouping. They had Canada, Switzerland, and Qatar. But, Bosnia and Herzegovina, again, fast group, a really young group. They have a quote, wonderkind, like I said, in this Kareem kid. So, overall, a really nice team who's been put together. And as we know, anything can happen, right? I mean, Germany thought that they were going to be A-OK against Paraguay, right? The Netherlands, they thought they were going to be fine too. So the knockouts, it's just a little different, right? And I know that you love brackets. I love brackets as well, and you're always rooting for the underdog, except for when it's your team, like the USA. But really, anything can happen, right? Bosnia and Herzegovina can catch fire, catch lightning in a bottle, whatever you want to claim it. But with all of the guys coming back off of a long rest, I think this is going to be kind of a runaway game. Knock on wood for the U.S.
I hope so. It's bracket play, so you never know. But yeah, when you look at what Bosnia and Herzegovina has done so far in this tournament, they played Canada to a draw, and I think that was a surprise to a lot back on June 12th. That was big. And then they got Switzerland, a team expected to emerge victorious, and they did just that. They got Bosnia pretty good, 4-1. And then Qatar was outmanned in that game. Bosnia was viewed as favorites, and they took care of business against a Qatar team who kind of had a forgettable showing in this year's World Cup. But 3-1. So with a win, a loss, and a draw, they were able to get 4 points and, again, slide into that final 8 spots in the World Cup round of 32. So they've got some good players. USA, a pretty good draw for them, you would think. They performed really well in their 3 games in pool play. If they win this game, they will take on the winner of Belgium-Senegal. Now, we are pre-recording the show. That's a game that is taking place as we speak. Belgium and Senegal, the winner of that gets the winner of USA and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And, of course, we'll break that down tomorrow to open Rock Chalk Sports and hopefully be taking a deeper dive look at a round of 16 opponent for the USA, because that's where we're hoping to be. Tomorrow will be kind of the next grouping of 4 in terms of where the USA would go. Again, you're focused on this Belgium-Senegal game, but if there's a scenario where the USA gets to the round of 8, it's going to be either Portugal, Croatia, Spain, or Austria. Spain and Austria is tomorrow at 2. Portugal, Croatia is tomorrow at 6. Again, a couple beasts in there with Spain and Portugal. Have to see how that goes. But again, you look at this is doable. If the USA is able to get to the round of 8, what an accomplishment that would be. And then, you kick it off and see what happens from there. But again, all signs are good. You like to think USA is healthy. They're well rested, and now they just got to go out and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And, got to get it done against Bosnia and Herzegovina first. And you have, like you said, Belgium and Senegal. Whoever the winner of that game is that's going to be the next game. That's going to be played on July 6th. Both those teams probably, wish they had a little bit better group play. But again, whenever you're talking about the knockouts, it's always completely different. But Bosnia and Herzegovina, I have some numbers on them, by the way. They've committed the second highest number of fouls per game at 15.7. They've received 6 yellow cards and 1 red. That's the second most out of anybody in the World Cup as of right now. So they're a tough physical team. They like to, play really hard defense, commit a lot of fouls. But on the flip side of that, they really struggle with keeping the ball. They're 33rd out of 48 teams in terms of possession, 43.7% as compared to almost 60% with the U.S. The U.S. likes to keep that possession, so that's going to be lopsided. You're probably going to, as the soccer fans say, tilt the field a little bit. But you have to be able to be striking the ball well. You have to get those shots on goal, and you have to see the back of the net. Doesn't matter how many shots on goal you've had. I mean, we've seen a number of different games in this World Cup already where the team has 8 to 10 more shots on goal, and they still wind up losing 2-1 just because either the goalie's really nice or, the defense has been, very, very solid. And that's how Bosnia and Herzegovina is. They're going to get in your face. They're going to, commit a lot of fouls. They're going to take you down. Hopefully, if they do take you down, you want it to definitely be in the box where you'll get a penalty kick. But again, really solid team. And I think they understand the challenge ahead of them as well. Looking at it in terms of Bosnia and Herzegovina, nobody thinks that they're going to win this, right? It's on American soil. They're this small little country coming over to the U.S., playing against the monster U.S. is on an incredible run right now, aside from the loss where you had your B team in. So, the U.S. has to tilt this field. They have to get the shots on goal, and they have to, like I said, see the back of the net.
Levi's Stadium, 7 o'clock tonight. USA trying to punch their ticket to the round of 16. Can't wait for that. Again, stay tuned in to Kansas Nation on socials, but also Rock Chalk Sports tomorrow. We will break this one down, and hopefully we'll be having our juices flowing for a round of 16 matchup that would come next week. Dan, let's talk a little KU basketball, at least some rumors, some rumblings, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Yeah, so some rumblings as of right now. Kansas is apparently linked to a 7-foot Serbian in Mihailo Musikic. He's 7 foot, 230 pounds. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining. He's like 24, 25 years old. So, this is kind of going to be one of those guys who is going to be this weird transitional year where you can get one of these guys in. But, KU's been talking about how, hey, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they can get maybe a steal, if you will. That's been the word that Bill Self has said, like getting a steal. And this guy would certainly be it, right? He's been playing over in Serbia professionally for Mega Basket. According to reports, this is per Jayhawk Slant Shea Wildeber, the organization's top front court player after coming through its developmental system. So he's been playing over there professionally for a long time. Started in 2020 all the way through this year, but again, has 1 more year of eligibility and has been linked heavily to Kansas. Really nice player, averaged 11 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game in the 2022 FIBA Under-20 European Championship. So you like to see that. Over in Serbia's Under-19 national team back in 2021, it was 10.4 rebounds, or 10.4 assists per game, excuse me. So this is a really nice player. Again, probably just one of those pieces that I don't know how he's going to necessarily fit in right away. Now, you have Christian Reeves, who's been banged up. You're probably not going to see him until damn near October, you know what I mean? So as of right now, you're kind of sitting with one guy. You need that depth in the front court. That's what we've been talking about consistently. Yeah, Keanu Dawes could potentially, I almost said Keanu Reeves. Keanu Dawes can slide in maybe to play the 5 because he had to when he was at Utah. That's not exactly where you want him, though. You want him playing the power forward only, a guy who can stretch it out and be that number one, guy in terms of the 4 position for you. But in terms of this Serbian guy, Musikic, I think this is going to be, if Kansas can get him at a relatively cheap price and be able to, just get a little bit more depth in that front court, it would be massive.
Rumblings are rumblings, right?
Rumblings are rumblings.
One thing that I think it would be fair to say is based on the recent chain of events with Malik Ewan and this Serbian guy, which has Serbia ever produced a good basketball player?
Let me think.
I think there maybe
famous Serbian basketball players.
I think there maybe is one or two
None of them
in there.
come to mind.
But I think it's fair to say, hey, KU is still looking.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Kay said at Hawk Talk over at Johnny's Tavern, West Lawrence, on Monday when asked about if this roster is complete, he said, we really like the guys we had, but recruiting is one of those things where if something falls in our lap, then we're still going to be looking. And as we've talked about, I'm really high on Paul Mbia, as you know. I think that he's going to be a fantastic player. I think he will start for Kansas. Keanu Dawes is kind of separate from me because he's going to be the 4. He's locked into that 4 starter, hopefully for 2 years, as we've discussed. But Mbia's there. Christian Reeves, you just have the question mark because of the injury, so you don't know. But the fact that we're hearing, whether legitimate or not, about some of these other bigs that Kansas may be interested in tells you that somebody is probably thinking, hey, we got to add a depth piece there. And I also still wouldn't be shocked if KU does go out and add a point guard who isn't going to play a lot of minutes, but, is a practice-type player as KU did last year with Kenyu Gala.
Yeah, and, like you said, kind of a practice-type player. Kansas still has, I want to say, 2 more roster spots left that they're able to utilize. So to me, right away, you need to get one of these guys who just adds a little bit of depth to you. And, again, this is the perfect place to look, where you look at how thin the front court is. You don't really need another guard on the team. Maybe you'd be okay with it, but at the same time, your main focus is going to be a guy who can get you some minutes. Like Parker Brown, for example, was a perfect example. Maybe Parker Brown got a little bit more playing time than he would have thought, especially in that last year when he was with Kansas. But you need somebody like that. Just for example, if both guys manage to get into foul trouble early, you need to get some guy in there who can plug that hole in, protect the rim, take up space down low, and just be another piece for you.
We've had a couple Hawk Talks recently, just in the past 7 days or so. One was Hawk Talk with Bill Self, where Jeremy Case, the associate head coach, filled in for him last week. But on Monday, there was also Hawk Talk with head baseball coach Dan Fitzgerald, and he has had so much success. It's been so fun tracking KU baseball. Couple KU baseball pieces of news that we want to get to before we bring on Jack Ritter. Next segment, KU baseball assistant coach and recruiting coordinator John Coyne was named the 2026 D1 Baseball Assistant Coach of the Year. That just came out earlier this week. He's the first Kansas assistant coach to ever do it. It seems like whenever we talk about Dan Fitzgerald and the culture, the success, particularly in recruiting the JUCO players, you're always bringing up John Coyne because that's what he does. He's the recruiting coordinator. And I've always said, particularly these past 2 months, that the two things that Kansas baseball has done to give them so much success recently is build a culture and keep an eye on talent evaluation. And John Coyne is in the middle of that. He helped KU win the 3 championships they did this past season, Big 12 regular season and tournament titles, and the Lawrence regional title as well. That's despite the fact that Kansas had a 2026 roster that had 35 student athletes, and 26 of them were newcomers. Again, whether it's Jackson Hauge 2 years ago or a plethora of players this year, Kansas is finding the guys, and again, they're keeping the culture throughout. So John Coyne, shout out to him. And then some other KU baseball news as well, Dan, and this was actually pre-Dan Fitzgerald, the regime of Rich Price. Rich Price, who was here for quite a long time, he's being recognized. Yeah, he's going to be recognized. He was selected to the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame as a member of the 2027 class. That was announced earlier today. Rich Price, he was at KU for 20 seasons, 2003 to 2022, finished with 581 career wins, led the program to 3 NCAA tournament appearances, 2006, 2009, and 2014. Rich Price, obviously just a legend here at Kansas, a guy who, stuck around and just bleeds crimson and blue. So this is really cool. I'm happy for Rich Price, getting inducted into the ABCA Hall of Fame class of 2027. Really cool stuff. 75 professional contracts signed under him, 10 top 10 round draft picks under Rich Price as well, and at least one player on Price's roster was either signed or drafted in 18 of his 20 seasons. So another guy who's able to get some talent in and produce and at a high level and make sure to get them to the next level. Yeah, KU baseball continues to be at the forefront as they had an awesome season, of course, tying the single season record here at KU with 45 wins under Dan Fitzgerald, who was an unbelievable hire after Rich Price by Travis Goff. So love seeing that. Jack Ritter is going to join the show. Usually our Wednesday guest is Henry Greenstein from KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal World, but he is over in Italy, so Jack is going to sub in, and he's going to talk a little KU basketball and football and much, much more. More coming up on Rock Chalk Sports. Thanks for listening on ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.
Yo.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports. Hey, Crown Automotive, they are our founding partners here at Kansas Nation. Check them out on South Iowa, crownautomotive.com. We're going to be joined now in studio by Jack Ritter, 24/7 Sports. Jack, thanks for tapping out Henry Greenstein, who is in Italy right now, and you get to take the stage here on this Wednesday. A lot to get to. Of course, World Cup is at the forefront. Team USA in action tonight. You've got Algeria tomorrow night. Did you want to touch on that really quick, actually? Just what you've seen with Team Algeria having spent 23 days here in the River City and the marriage of Lawrence, Kansas and the country of Algeria. It's been fun, and it's awesome that they're advancing as well as USA.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. I'm glad you brought it up because I'm actually wearing my green today for Team Algeria, and it's also laundry day, so I didn't have anything else better to wear.
I love that shirt. It's the wheel. That's awesome.
It is a wheel shirt, right?
Let's go.
I'm a fan. Been a fan since my 21st birthday.
Sure, right. Yeah.
Anyways, really fascinating to see the way the community is gathered around Algeria, and also to see the national reception of this wonderful news storyline that is this huge country in Africa and this small town in Kansas bonding together. It's been wonderful to see. I was at Lawrence Country Club last week working a different job, and we're looking over the hill, and we're like, what's all that noise? There's like fireworks and flares popping out of where the DoubleTree would be, and we were like, oh, the team is back, or the team is leaving, one of the two. So it's been really cool to see the way Lawrence has embraced it. You have the Algerian flag over there on the desk, and there's so many downtown businesses. There's people driving around with the flags attached to their car. They're getting Mahrez kits and things like that, and it's just been wonderful to see. I'm glad that the national media has picked up on the story too. As a Lawrence native, that's been one of the coolest parts of seeing my town get publicity nationally for being such a cool, unique, welcoming place.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be cool when the World Cup was coming to Kansas City, and we knew somebody was going to have Lawrence as the base camp. I don't think anybody would have imagined it being as cool as it has been. Summer has been awesome, and again, wishing continued success not only for Team USA, but Team Algeria as well. A lot to get to, KU basketball, KU football, that sort of thing, but something we're going to break down next segment, the news that came out just in the past week or so about NCAA's new age-based eligibility rule. That's going to grant all Division I athletes 5 years to complete 5 seasons. Going to bring major changes to roster management in basketball and football in particular in the years ahead. No more red shirt, no more medical red shirt. It's kind of firm. Either your 19th birthday or your high school graduation, whichever comes first, you get 5 years to compete within the NCAA. Overall, your thoughts on this as it affects KU and college athletics in general?
I think it's the right decision to make in this modern era of players entering the transfer portal, and along with the explosion of the transfer portal in the last few years, along with name, image, and likeness becoming a thing, you also have players suing the NCAA for additional years of eligibility because they played at lower levels and they want a maximum of Division I years. A player who comes to mind is Jalen Coleman-Lands, who, how many years did he play? 6 years?
Yeah.
And
he got that chip.
Tyon Grant
he
Foster.
did. Tyon Grant Foster's one. Deshaun Hanukkah is one, though his situation was a little bit more unique. I think it is the right ruling because it's simple and it's clear. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of lawsuits and things like that the NCAA will have to navigate and handle. And for so long, I think so many people are – the NCAA is the villain in a lot of situations, or it is painted as such in movies or in popular media and things like that. But I actually think the NCAA is in the right position here with this ruling because – you're not going to have 26-year-olds playing basketball against 18-year-olds anymore. It's simple. It's clear. It's right after graduation, right after your 19th birthday, you have a clock. When the clock is up, you're done. No exceptions. Sorry if you had something happen in your career, like a medical happenstance that barred you from playing a year or maybe 2, but unfortunately our hands are tied. And so I just think it's the right ruling. It's the correct decision. We'll see how the NCAA handles class of 2022 graduates, like a Malik Ewan, who I think you mentioned on the last segment, who may be pursuing via judicial decisions or courts getting that 5th year. So that'll be interesting to see the way the NCAA navigates that. But so far they've said those guys don't get eligibility. But I think as it goes forth, it's the right decision for college basketball, college football, college sports in general. For KU, the impact, it's not super major from how I look at it. The players on the KU baseball team, I think, have all mostly used up their eligibility. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but for basketball, it's just Keanu Dawes and Dennis Parker Jr. on the short on-site who would have some benefit. Christian Reeves doesn't get that benefit because he's already played 5 years. And for football, there's a slew of guys who could benefit, but I don't think it's super major for KU right now.
Shout out to Jalen Coleman-Lands, by the way. We do all of this, who do we hit on, who do we not hit on in the transfer portal. Jalen Coleman-Lands shot 45% from three. He came over with Remy Martin via the portal that year, and of course Remy, deservedly so, gets so much of the recognition, but he shot 45% from three. He was a key member of that team, and it only took him 8-9 years to cut down the nets. So yeah, love that poll there.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, in honor of the 5-year eligibility thing, you are heading into your 4th year. Does that mean that you are going to take a 5th year of college just to, kind of in honor of it, I guess?
I appreciate the question. My agent has advised me to not commit to anything right now, depending on what professional opportunities or college opportunities might be ahead. So for now, I'm going to say no comment.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we know you're not hitting the transfer portal, so that's going to be nice. Jack Ritter for 24/7 Sports on the show right now. Let's talk a little KU basketball. As you mentioned Malik Ewan, and odds of him being able to get this extra year of eligibility are thinner now because of this new 5-year eligibility clause. Kansas also, apparently there's some rumblings linked to a 7-foot Serbian, Mihailo Musakic, just another guy maybe to add to the bench, just a piece for the front court, I guess, because when you look at this Kansas roster right now, you have all the guard play in the world, right? Tyron Stokes is going to be great. You have Tate Kinney, Leroy Blyden, Dennis Parker Jr., Cole Rosario, all these guys in the backcourt, but the front court, you have Keanu Dawes, Christian Reeves, who's injured. We're not going to see him probably until like the fall, and Paul Mbia, right? So relatively thin there. I guess Kansas is still kind of looking around, and Bill Self has said it's not crazy to think that they might not get a steal. Like who knows what's going to happen there? I mean, your thoughts on that?
I think you summed it up pretty perfectly. Jeremy Case, as you mentioned, was on Hawk Talk last week and said, Brian Haney kind of asked him the direct question, like, is KU done adding to its roster? Is KU done adding to the front court? And he said, yes. And he explained, if something should happen or could happen, something falls into their lap, sure, they would add something. And so, to me, what's his name? Mirakic?
Muzikic.
Muzikic.
Mihailo Muzikic.
Right. Thank you for that. It's an insurance play,
sure.
Right? Reeves and Mbia and maybe even Dawes kind of headline what your center position would be. Sure, you've got this guy who could come in, and there's some things that jump off the tape, don't get me wrong. He's 7 feet. Is he north of...
He's 230.
230. Yeah, that's what I thought. So 230 pounds. Yeah. He's got some good athleticism on his on his tape. The thing that briefly popped out to me was, he's got some athletic ability to really rise up and slam the ball. But is he going to be KU's starter? No. When it's all said and done, would he be KU's backup center? Probably not. And maybe that's a little bit of a pessimistic view, but I don't think it's July 1st and Bill Self is still looking for a starting caliber center. Is this an insurance option if a Malik Ewan can't get on board with the roster? That's what I think it is. We'll see how everything plays out. I guess he has a year of eligibility as a 26-year-old. Even though, or maybe he's a 24-year-old. I can't remember his age right now, but I know
he's about to turn 25.
He's about to turn 25, so he's 24. Apologies for the brief misinformation. It's not a huge deal. They could add somebody, but the part of the case quote that is telling is they're happy with the roster as it stands, even with 2 spots open. The question is, can they survive attrition and injuries with just those 12? But that's a question they'll have to answer down the road if they don't pick up this Serbian center or a Malik Ewan or somebody else.
And what's your comfort level in general with this roster? I've talked about this a lot. Torvik has Kansas at 12. Gary Parrish, Jonathan Rothstein, they have Kansas in the 20s, 30s, whatever it is. Is this a roster that's good enough to compete for a championship? I know that's kind of a big question because we don't know. There's so many question marks, but there's a lot to like. Is there anything that jumps out at you that you don't like? And I guess just your comfort level, like hanging some sort of number next to Kansas' name heading into this season and feeling confident with the group you've got.
I think an average between those two numbers of maybe Torvik has it in the top 10, maybe they're in the 20s elsewhere. An average, a median of the two would probably be a bit more what I would point to, something in the 15, 16, 17 range. Could they get up into a top 10 or perhaps a top 5 team in the country? They could. Could they fall out of the top 25 early in the season because there's not enough polish, there's not enough cohesiveness, there's not enough playmaking, or something's falling behind? Yes, that could also happen. So my comfort level, it's probably about where this past year was. And I think there's a lot of similarities with KU basketball 25-26 that there will be with KU basketball 26-27. You've got the number one guy. You've got some transfers that you're adding around him, some people who you don't really know if they're going to hit on. With Reeves, he's got the history of playing at the Power 5 level. Trey White was more accomplished in that regard, but he's your guy who had the history of playing at the Power 5 level. Leroy Blyden or Dennis Parker Jr. is your guy you look at and you say, okay, here's our guard. Can he take that next step at the next level playing in the Big 12? Melvin Council, the question was the same for him last year. So I think a lot of KU fans are up in the air about, is this team going to be good? Is it going to be bad? It's probably going to be somewhere right in the middle and probably on track with what they did this past year. I do think on the positive side of things for KU fans is Tyron Stokes is probably an easier player to build around and play around than a Darren Peterson might be. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, but Peterson has to take 17 shots a game, 20 shots a game to get his and to make his impact. Whereas Tyron Stokes, he's got that defensive ability. Jeremy Case is very high on his passing, which might be a little bit telling of how some things are going maybe at the guard spot. But they're high on his passing ability and his impact elsewhere. He's got a little bit more when it comes to his physical tools than Peterson does. He's got a bigger body, and he's probably able to work in the paint a little bit more and get a higher efficiency shot than Peterson turning around in the mid-range. Not saying he's not efficient there, because he is, but it's an easier shot nonetheless. So Stokes is a little bit easier of a guy to build around to me than Peterson, and so maybe that ceiling is a little bit higher. But I also think the transfers are a little bit more of question marks this year than last year. I was high on Council because he had shown in his body of work that he could really push and defend, and he had the athleticism and the length to be a starting caliber guard, and I think we all saw that. Trey White had that Power 5 experience and had worked against people in the Big Ten or in the ACC, etc. I'm not sure if those same things can be said about the people coming in. And as you guys mentioned, center, the front court is a big question mark. I actually think we'll end up seeing a decent amount of Keanu Dawes 5-ball this year. That's something we could definitely see, especially early in the season if there's injuries.
Yeah.
Throw Stokes at the 4, throw Cole at the 3, and then you have Leroy at the 2 and TK at the 1. It could work out.
Yeah, it could. I mean, in a perfect world, that's not what you want, right?
Probably not for KU.
But yeah, maybe just a Band-Aid or something. Jack Ritter, 24/7 Sports, joins the show. Jack, before we talk a little football, you brought them up, Trey White and Melvin Council, both those guys getting a chance in the summer leagues coming up this upcoming weekend. Trey White, I mean, talk about a perfect kind of storm where they just get rid of the whole farm and they have no guard play, and now he's a 6'7" wing coming in. I mean, able to potentially stake his claim with the Miami Heat, and then Melvin Council Jr. going to the New Orleans Pelicans. What's the realistic possibility that those guys find themselves on a roster?
It's a good question, and I think they need to show off the parts of their games that were at their best this past year. Melvin is not going to be a guy in the NBA who's going to make 7+ threes in a game.
Yeah.
Even though he did that once at KU. So he's got to be that true facilitator, and he's got to be a great defender. He's got to take advantage of those scoring opportunities when he has them as well. For Trey White, I think his game is a bit more NBA ready than a Melvin Council. So he'll be able to probably make the three. He'll be able to defend decently. He'll be able to draw some fouls, drive into the paint. He's got the turnaround jumper that's worked off and on. And so I think Trey White is in a bit more of a better situation, like you said, in Miami, where a lot is gone and they're looking for somebody to step up. He could certainly be a guy who steps up. Is he going to be a starter for the Heat? Maybe not. Is he going to get a chance to play next to LeBron? Maybe. Just kidding. But we'll see. I think Trey White, his game is a bit more NBA ready. But you never know. When I talked to Adrian Wojnarowski a few months ago about Melvin Council, he said Melvin is one of those guys who will work hard and not give up. Pat Bev is an example of a guy who works hard and doesn't give up. He might not have that offensive impact, but after playing for years in the Euro leagues, GM started to pick up on the things that Pat Bev was good at, and he ended up having a long NBA career. Melvin Council could do the same thing. He can't give up, and he needs to have really, really efficient defense and playmaking ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's talk a little KU football. You said you're going down to Frisco, Texas to cover the Big 12 Media Days. A lot of excitement around some of the returners, some of the transfers coming in as well. And, we talked a little bit about the EA College Football 27 player rankings. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. And this is just a segue to essentially have an excuse to talk about the quarterback situation. Cole Ballard is a 70 in EA. Meanwhile, Chase Jenkins and Isaiah Marshall are at a 74. I guess if you were to put something on it right now in terms of who's going to be the starter, I mean, EA has essentially what I thought was going to be the 2 and 3, 4 spots above Cole Ballard. I mean, your thoughts on the quarterback battle right now?
That's interesting that the ratings are above Ballard, because I would say that I do think Ballard will end up being the starter. Now, fall camp has to play out, and they, certain guys could take certain jumps. But as it stands, and maybe the reason behind some of these rankings is neither Ballard or Marshall have starting experience. Well, Ballard does, but it's minimal. And last year he didn't exactly impress, and I think there was a slight downturn when he fumbled against Texas Tech pretty early on in that game, and you didn't see him running the football much more for the rest of the season, if he did at all. So he doesn't have a lot of attributes that maybe jump off the page like Marshall does in terms of his athleticism. We haven't seen those things that have popped off for Ballard the way we've seen maybe a little bit of Marshall's ability in the run game. So maybe that's why he's a few notches ahead of Ballard. I still think Cole Ballard will be the starter, because one of the biggest things that this team and this coaching staff appreciates is leadership ability, the off-the-field leadership qualities. And so I think Ballard has the leg up going into the first week to start, because players have really rallied around him. At least the coaches and the players themselves have told us that. Even when he was a backup quarterback competing for the QB2 job, we heard about his leadership and his voice emerging from that locker room, even though Jalen Daniels was the quarterback in front of him. So he might have a little bit of that leadership shtick that can put him in front. Chase Jenkins is a guy that they'll just need to see more from. He was banged up for a large portion of this spring, and I think he's a question mark. He does have starting experience, and he does have some athletic gifts that are fascinating. He played wide receiver, so he's got some dynamic abilities. But it will be interesting to see which way they go. Do they go with the transfer who was injured for much of the spring and has a season of starting at quarterback under his belt? Do they go with Ballard, who has been with the team a hair longer and has a bit more of the leadership qualities? Or do you go with Marshall, who's arm is maybe a little bit more suspect, who has the legs and the athleticism to maybe push him in front in that conversation, but might not have those same leadership qualities and skills that Ballard has. It's a toss-up right now, but if I had to put my money on somebody, I'm taking Ballard.
And last thing for you, Jack, regarding the offense for KU, a lot of excitement from the KU fan base around Dylan Edwards and Nick McMillan going back to the EA rankings. He's the highest ranked Jayhawk on there. Who are you most excited to see, and who do you think will benefit most from having Andy Kotelnicki calling the plays?
That's a good question. I think
Good question.
Nick McMillan, I think, will be a dynamic playmaker. I think we're going to see him on all parts of the field, just like Cam Pickett was this last year. You know, you could put Pickett in the slot, you could put him on the outside, and he had some injuries that kind of tricked him up. But I think it will be fascinating to see the way Pickett and McMillan are used together to confuse defenses and have some creative route running. But I'm also big on Najee Cox. He is a huge, huge receiver, and he has got some muscle. And so when they aren't finding the stuff downfield with a McMillan or with a Pickett, they will find Najee Cox, or they will try to, in the flat. I think his ability to come down with 50-50 balls and make a catch through contact will be a much-needed attribute. Dylan Edwards will be a dynamic playmaker, but you've also got, sort of like Najee Cox is the physical, outstanding member of the wide receiver corps, Yassine Willis. Or Willis? Yeah. He's got some physical tools and some real size that I think will be fascinating to see. So I'm big on Cox, and I'm big on Willis behind those sort of headline playmakers that are higher rated and expectations are a little higher for.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's going to be fun to see that. Jack, appreciate you stepping in for Henry today. We'll get you on again sometime. Football season will be here soon.
That's right.
Jack Ritter, 24/7 Sports. Hey, custom lawn and landscape. If you're like me, you've got kids running around the grass, and nothing ruins time outside faster than fleas, ticks, and chiggers. That's why families trust Custom Lawn and Landscape to help keep their lawns beautiful and protected all season long. They've got a home insect control program that'll help defend your lawn from those pesky bugs. And right now, when you sign up for the season, first application is absolutely free.
What?
First application is free. Custom Lawn and Landscape, a simple way to take back your backyard this spring and summer. Custom Lawn and Landscape, helping you love your lawn without the bugs. After this, more NCAA talk regarding the 5-and-5 rule. That's next. ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com.
What's up?
Welcome back. Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Want to get into the NCAA 5-and-5 eligibility news. But first, want to tell you about our new friends over at Ameritrust Credit Union. Jayhawk fans, show up, pack the field house, and wave the wheat. When it comes to money, Ameritrust brings that same energy. That's because financial well-being isn't just something they offer, it's why they exist. Real people, local decisions, a team that actually knows your name. When you're ready to improve your financial game plan, they're ready. Ameritrust Credit Union is the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Visit Ameritrust.org to learn more. Federally insured by the NCAA. So pumped to have our new partners at Ameritrust on board. And again, visit them. Your financial well-being is always at the forefront. All right, NCAA 5-year eligibility. Again, we touched on this a little bit with Ritter, but it's going to grant all Division I athletes 5 years to complete 5 seasons. Going to bring major changes to roster management and basketball and football over the years ahead. Significant shift in the college sports landscape. Jack said, and I agree, that it's the right thing to do. Something had to be done, and I guess we just start there. It's become a mess with 30-year-olds playing in college athletics, and they've set this up to where whether it's your high school graduation or your 19th birthday, whichever comes first, that is when your clock starts. You get 5 years to play 5, no red shirts, no medical red shirts. Again, providing at least some sort of guardrails for this whole thing.
Yeah. It's putting the worms back in the can, right? I mean, that's the classic, like, oh, you trying to get the worms back in the can or whatever. Like, it's just kind of doing that, right? It's being pushed in the right direction. And, you know, I'm really happy that the NCAA has put their foot down and said, all right, no more litigation, no more lawsuits. Like, these are the rules and you have to abide by them. And the implementation, I think, is interesting as well. We can kind of, break that down. I broke it down a little bit last time I talked about it. But I think this is the right move. It's going to be weird, right? Obviously, like, you don't want change, and the world of college athletics has changed so much just within the last really 6 or 7 years, ever since the transfer portal became a thing, right? So again, this is moving towards a direction that I really do like, and it's going to directly impact some KU guys as well. Where Jack brought it up, and I think Henry might have brought it up last week or whatever, that Keanu Dawes, Dennis Parker Jr., like, those guys are going to get another year of eligibility. Alex Bray, Najee Cox, like, those are 2 guys on the football team who are going to get another year. There are some guys who it won't apply to, also like Javon Bardwell, who is a Kansas commit for 2027. He actually, his 19th birthday is this year, so he's only going to get 4 years of eligibility. Now, granted, hopefully Javon Bardwell is good enough that he more than likely he's probably going to leave early. Hopefully he stays for all 4 years. That would be excellent, and I certainly hope that's the case. But yeah, the implementation is, I think, the interesting part of it. So it's going to be effective for all prospects initially enrolling full-time in college in fall of 2027 or later. So right now we're kind of in a bridge year, a gap year, but this is kind of where it's involved. So student athletes who have used their final seasons of competition during the 25 and 26 year, they're going to get no additional eligibility. But current student athletes with eligibility remaining after 25 and 26, they will either, by the previous rules or the new age-based model, whichever is most beneficial to the student athlete, that's the one that they're going to go to, right? Where, sometimes it might not be beneficial, or the old rules might be beneficial, but the new rules wouldn't be. There's some weird kind of caveats in terms of that. Also, prospects who initially enroll full-time at any college or university during 26 or 27, again, kind of in that bridge year, because this doesn't start until fall of 2027. Again, that's going to be the old rules or the new rules. And then anybody who is fall of 27 or later, if you enroll in college fall of 27 or later, that is the age-based model only. There's no grandfathering in after that. So again, it is interesting. So you're going to get guys like Cole Rosario who get another year of eligibility, different things like that. I believe Paul Mbia does not, because he's a little bit older.
Samaya Nichols,
another one who could potentially get. Now, granted, we're seeing mock drafts of the WNBA mock draft coming out where she's projected in the top 6. So I don't know what would be the best move for her. Obviously, with the WNBA and how much more money they're getting, it would make sense for her. Or at least it's more of a coin flip, whereas kind of the way it was in the past, like Caitlin Clark was essentially getting a pay cut whenever she went to the Indiana Fever. And then they started changing different things, the pay model. Now WNBA players are getting paid a lot more than they used to be. But Samaya Nichols, again, that is a really exciting development for this Kansas women's basketball team, as she could potentially come back for another year as well. I'm curious to know just kind of maybe pros and cons in your eyes of this. I mean, the cons are essentially it gets rid of the 4 years. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. They're going to have to figure out what to call the 5th years. Are they just going to call them 5th years, or call them super seniors, or some other name that we haven't heard yet? I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts in terms of maybe some pros and cons for this?
Well, the pro is that you're not going to, as I said, have 28-year-olds playing against 18-year-olds, So I think that's a big one. You're going to get the competition to where it was supposed to be at the beginning when the NCAA college athletics started. It's supposed to be kids in college. Again, I think that realizing it's not as simple as you get a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year was big by the NCAA, and no one should know that more than them, based on all of the medical red shirts they've had, all of the 4 games, and I'm sitting out in college football that they've had. And that's another thing that I think is a pro. In basketball, you're not going to be able to shut it down after a few games and say, "Oh, I hurt my finger, so I can't play, and now I'm going to apply for a medical red shirt because I want a full year so that I can make more money for NIL," because all that's tied in. Same with college football. You don't have a guy who can only play 4 games or chooses to only play 4 games, then sitting out because maybe he's unhappy with the situation and he wants to try see if the grass is greener on the other side. So you won't have that because your clock is starting. So I think that's the biggest pro of this without question. In terms of cons, I don't know. I guess anybody who was really tied to the idea of guys only getting 4 years, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's also
I think it's mostly pro, especially because then, if there's a situation where you can get Cole Rosario 4 or 5 years at Kansas, who knows what will happen there? But that's what people want as fans of college athletics as well, is recognizable names. And these guys, again, can potentially enhance their earnings potential.
So the only one I can really think of is very, very specific situations, and Tyon Grant Foster is a great example of this. So under the age-based eligibility model, waivers will not be available. No clock extension, no waivers previously granted for hardships, seeding of competition, and delayed enrollment, right? No waivers whatsoever. But Tyon Grant Foster is one of those ones where, like, he actually went through this medical hardship, right? Where he had, like, a heart issue and wasn't able to play for DePaul for an entire year. Like, that one kind of makes sense to me as where if you have something like that, or like even like the Texas guy, like Andrew Jones. Remember he got leukemia, right? But he was managed to come back, and I actually think he went to the NBA too. But there are those very, very specific cases where actual, like, true medical hardships. Now, granted, you get people who game the system as well. They go, I stubbed my toe when I wasn't able to, I missed a couple of games. That's a medical hardship. Like, I understand that, but, like, I guess there needs to be a little bit of discretion and maybe, like, some ground rules in terms of, you might need to bring in some doctors for this, but maybe that's, like, the one where but again, also, when you have a set rule like this of, like, you know what, doesn't matter. No waivers whatsoever. Like, absolutely none. It's a 5-year clock, and that's it. Like, maybe, that's the case. And then the people who actually truly have medical hardships, I mean, they're just kind of, gone with the wind. I don't know.
I think having the 5th year makes it
helps,
to where, yes, there are a couple of rare scenarios, like you mentioned, where an extended medical hardship will negatively affect one of these athletes being able to play. But I think that's where the NCAA can easily come in and say, well, we had 4 years of eligibility and we made it 5. So, like, I get it. And maybe there's some sort of exception when it's something as ridiculous as that. But I think this is the smarter thing to do in terms of the guardrails and all this. But you mentioned a few of the KU players that'll be affected by this, and we can go into this more as the week goes on. But again, I think to get back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier in the show, anybody who was on a roster during the 2020 and 2021 season, they're the real losers in this. The classes of 2021 and 2022 only got to play 4 non-redshirt seasons. They came too late to benefit from the extended eligibility for COVID and too early to benefit from the new eligibility rules. So you have people from the class of 2022 on the basketball side, they're going to court.
Yeah.
They're mounting legal challenges to the rule, arguing that it should apply retroactively to players who exhausted their eligibility in 2026. So, again, it's kind of a cruddy situation for them because that's 2 years that this entire college basketball landscape has hundreds and hundreds of players, college basketball, really any college sports. They're not getting a chance to do this, but it's probably one of those life ain't fair type situations for them because, the NCAA clearly didn't really know what they were doing, and there have been a lot of ups and downs throughout this. But now, all right, let's move forward with this 5-and-5 thing and see what happens moving forward. But, I think it's good. And, again, I mentioned Rosario, another thing that can improve the talent pool in college athletics, just like NIL has done, because there's a lot of negative that's gone along with NIL. And we've talked about that at length on our show. But the positive is we have really talented players now playing college basketball, college football throughout.
Yeah.
And the NIL is good for that. Now, is NIL used perfectly? No. Is it actually being used for what it should be? Probably not. But hopefully that's the next step as they figure out some guardrails on that front as well. But overall, I think it's a good first step, and people in general talking about how are we going to better police college athletics.
Yeah, I agree. And, in terms of, exactly what you said, like, it does benefit everything. And there's pros and cons to everything, but again, it's just kind of one of those ways to kind of put the worms back in the can a little bit, and like, all right, you have 5 years, that's it. And I'm sure the NCAA, wanted to do this to put some guardrails on it, as well as keep out of the litigation, right? The people keep on continuing to sue. There is one interesting story coming out of KU football, by the way. So Trayvon McAlpine transferred over from Tulane, was injured. If he doesn't play for this upcoming year, well, the NCAA got rid of medical red shirts. So that could potentially be a bad thing of like, well, hey, buddy, like, sorry, you don't get your medical red shirt even though you were injured for this past year. Like, your clock has already started. So Trayvon McAlpine could potentially not get another year of eligibility. It might be something that people want to, kind of look at. But again, there are a number of different KU players, at least on the football side, who benefit from this as well. Like I said, Alex Bray, Najee Cox, those are the two true seniors who will manage to get another year of eligibility. You also have Leroy Harris, Jalen Todd, Christian Pritchett. All those guys did not redshirt their first year, where in a world where you usually have the majority of your freshman class redshirting. Those three guys didn't redshirt, especially, Leroy Harris was a freshman All-American at Chattanooga. So now those guys are going to get another year of eligibility. So again, makes you feel good for the future. And, I think right away, I don't know, I could be wrong about this. Maybe I'm just the world's biggest Keanu Dawes fan, but I'm excited to see Keanu Dawes potentially come back to Kansas for a second year. I think that's going to be electric for him because he's really going to be able to shine and kind of play the true position that he's meant to play, which is power forward. Over at Utah, they used him way too much as a 5, and he was dominant down there, but you could tell he wanted to stretch it, right? He wanted to play that true power forward position, that stretch 4 kind of guy. Maybe that's the thing that I'm most excited for, is just maybe a potential second year from Keanu Dawes.
And I guess we have to remind ourselves that every college in the country, or in this case, every college basketball fan base in the country is reminding themselves that some of their best players now also get an extra year of eligibility as well. But yeah, Dawes and Dennis Parker Jr., somebody that, we haven't talked about a ton since he committed to KU. Those are the two guys that could get an additional year when originally it was thought that this was going to be their last year. So that's great. And then we touched on it briefly, but Samaya Nichols, again, she's projected to be a top 5 pick in the WNBA draft. She's had an unbelievable career so far at Kansas, but that's kind of where the WNBA pay, which has improved the past few years, is going to be compared to what Samaya Nichols can make NIL. And, for Kansas, if you can have another year of Nichols and Davis, and, we're so excited about the roster moving forward, that could be absolutely huge, because while every college can look at this and say, yeah, some of our best players can come back, not every college has a player like Samaya Nichols that you thought was going to have her eligibility exhausted. Another
Con, maybe this is just me, but another con potentially is college records are just going to be shattered.
That's true.
That they're just going to be shattered. Because, at a time, like, I don't know if, like, Pistol Pete Maravich, that's such an interesting one because he averaged 44 points a game, and he was the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history after Caitlin Clark, I believe, beat it. Caitlin Clark got 4 years. Pete Maravich only got 3 because LSU didn't allow freshmen to play. So there is just that little caveat. But again, you're going to see, guys play for 5 straight years, don't go professional because they're making all this NIL money. All the records are going to be shattered. Like, that's just not going to matter. Like, you're almost going to have to look at it as, like, okay, you almost have to put it in 2 different categories, almost like you kind of do with the NFL, where you're like, all right, well, this was when they played 14 games as opposed to now they play 17 games. So I think you're going to have to look at it in terms of that, of like, all right, this is the 4-year record, this is the 5-year record, essentially.
Yeah,
maybe that's
go back, and there's a guy named Chamberlain as well who didn't get to play as many years, and then you have the whole we didn't have even Brandon Rush, Mario Chalmers, those guys didn't play a full 4 years, so by their own choice. So who knows? But yeah, that is going to be affected, as it was during COVID. We had a ton of 6-year guys as well. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, that's big news, interesting news out of the NCAA, as players now get 5 years to play 5 seasons of ball. No red shirts, no medical red shirts. And again, that clock starts either your 19th birthday or your high school graduation, whichever comes first. We'll try to do a deeper dive on the specifics of the KU rosters throughout the athletic department of that as the summer rolls on. After this, though, it's time for our KU Mailbag segment, one of our favorite segments. Coming up next, we hear from you, the fans. Appreciate it. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Crown Automotive on South Iowa here in Lawrence will get you in the vehicle that you need. Miles Schneider, the Lawrence Citizen of the Year. Shout out to Zenith Winery as well up in Oregon, as the Schneider family does great wine just as they do cars.
Remind me, you're not a big wine guy, correct?
I love wine.
But
love wine.
You do love wine.
I do love wine.
So
I just am not a big wine drinker.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not a big wine guy, but when I had his wine, I was like, oh, I get it now.
It's good.
That's some good wine, man.
Great sales and service staff over at Crown Automotive. Again, crownautomotive.com. You can schedule Volkswagen or Toyota service, but Tundra, Camry, Corolla, RAV4, whatever you need, they've got over at Crown on South Iowa. Exciting KU Mailbag segment today, and then we're going to preview the Long Island Sharks as KU football will open with them on September 4th. We did our positional group outlook, so now we might as well do a schedule outlook, and that is the first one for KU at the new booth, which will still be new. It'll still be reimagined, and we'll see. Dan and I are actually going over there tomorrow morning and going to get something on social media for everybody, updating you on how the stadium is looking. But seems like they're ahead of schedule from everything I've seen. And again, September 4th will be the opener. KU Mailbag first, though, Dan.
Yeah. Wanted to start off here. A lot of great stuff. Actually, I have a mailbag question for you.
What's that?
At what point, how many years does it stop being the newly reimagined David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium? Were you 2030?
Yeah, 2030.
Okay, we'll give it 4 years to be newly reimagined. Then it's just David Booth Kansas Memorial. Okay.
I don't know if I've heard newly reimagined. I thought it was just reimagined.
Oh, I thought it was newly reimagined.
Can you be newly reimagined?
I
think you can only be reimagined.
Let me reimagine
right?
that. Hold on.
You can only reimagine, right? I don't know.
Newly reimagined. I mean, if you do it relative, I mean. You're like, oh, this guy just reimagined this.
He just reimagined it.
I mean, that's pretty new, right?
Okay.
As opposed to...
I'll go with it.
I don't know.
I'll go with it.
Andy, shout out to Andy Flower. He wants to know, he asked 2 questions. Who feels more pressure, a place kicker lining up for a Super Bowl winning field goal or a World Cup game-winning penalty kick?
Cup check. I think it's the latter. I think it's the World Cup game-winning penalty kick, and I'll let you take the opposite, and you can mention how it's the kicker. See, the kicker for the Super Bowl, they just need to go through their progression, right?
Yeah.
Do your same routine every time. No, you're not always on the same hash or whatever, but kick it through the uprights. That's what you're going for. It's such a mind game with PKs because you have 9 different spots that you can kick the ball, basically, and it's you versus the goalkeeper. So I got to go with that. The pressure, I don't know. I mean, the pressure's there for both of them. I think
You've never
Would
seen...
the distance of the field goal affect this answer at all? I don't know.
Oh, probably. Yeah, maybe like a 50 plus, then sure, I'll buy that.
Maybe.
But like a PK, like you saw it in the Germany-Paraguay game where there was like 4 guys who just opted to not do it, and they had to throw in, what was it, Jonathan Tah, and he wound up missing that last one. Because I heard this on the broadcast where they're like, yeah, there was like 3 other guys who were supposed to do it, and then they threw Tah in who had never taken a PK before. Because they were just, like, the pressure got to, which, like, granted, that's soft. Like, that's a soft move.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that in any sport.
Yeah, like, this is this only happens every 4 years, and now this is my time to be the hero of my country. I'm not gonna do it. Actually, I respectfully decline, and we'll send this other guy in. Like, that's soft, and that to me tells me that it's penalty kicks because, like, you're never gonna see that out of a kicker. Like an NFL kicker,
maybe
they
that
go,
says more about
soccer
players.
The pressure's too big. I'm throwing the second guy. No, they're not going to do that. Maybe that's just, kickers, NFL kickers are.
I think it comes down to the mind games, like I said. I think the kicker lining up for the field goal, yes, there's a lot of pressure, and maybe you can walk it off, but it's something that you've done. You've been probably in this situation before in your life a lot, and in PKs, maybe you've been in the situation a lot, but it's such a mind game.
Yeah,
like, you have so many different options on where and how you're going to kick the ball. And again, even if you hit it well, strike it well, you might not get it, which is not the case for the most part for football. But solid question there from Andy.
That's a good question. Also, Andy wants to know, can Daniel define androgynous?
Androgynous.
I think I used it on the show, and I remember I really double.
Let me see how accurate you are.
I haven't looked it up yet. Androgynous means like malleable almost, or like it can be 2 different things. Am I wrong about this? Androgynous, Like it can go back and forth between two different.
You're not terribly off.
Okay, sure.
Al Overview says androgynous is a person, appearance, or style that blends both masculine and feminine characteristics, or whose gender is difficult to distinguish.
Gendered. Oh my gosh.
It says person, appearance, or style.
Okay. All right.
So,
Oh, androgynous is like, that could be like a guy or a girl. Or it could be, the style could blend. Yeah.
This says describes an ambiguous appearance or presentation that intentionally blends both masculine and feminine traits, whereas unisex describes items or places that specific gender attributes entirely that lack specific gender attributes entirely and are simply designed for anyone to use.
Okay, so I definitely didn't use it right.
Androgynous
I think I was talking about the
intentional blend.
I think I was talking about the running backs and about how like androgynous.
Yeah, I would love
like
to know
they
what
could be.
I would love to know what word you're thinking of.
I think that I know. I don't know. I think I used it to describe like a Jalen Dupree or somebody.
Oh
of
my
like,
God!
Oh, they could be.
So you actually
either
used it on the show. So this is why
I used it on the show.
Yikes.
This happens a lot, by the way. I mean, I keep on saying I'll keep you up to breast
That's not
on
correct.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Androgynous is okay. All right, now I know, and now I know what to use it for.
I was not listening, thankfully, whenever you had said that.
Yeah, I think I used it to describe
Andy,
like a running back who can be dominant in the pass game and the run game. Of like, he can do both, but. Little did I know that does. All right, Andy. Hey, you got me. Damn it. KU Najee, he wants to know: will any of the tight ends have a better year than 45 catches, 584 yards, and 3 touchdowns? He also says, guess the mid-2000s KU tight end who put that stat line.
Mid-2010s KU tight end who put up that stat line. Wow, I need to go back. Go back in time. 45, 584,
there's a lot of
and
forgettable
3
tight ends.
touchdowns.
584.
Mid-2010s KU football tight end.
Well, let's start with the first one first. Will any of the tight ends have a better year than that? I think yeah. I mean,
that would be 4 catches a game for 50 yards a game.
Yeah,
and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, Carter Moses to me has been poking out. Jalen Butler. I think those are the two guys.
I'm a Carson Brune guy. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be the number one guy.
It depends on how much you use them, like outside of weird, tricky stuff. And like I guess like Andy Kotelnicki made Tyler Warren granted Tyler Warren was also a like one of one talent in terms of the tight ends, but he used him a lot. So if you can squeeze that amount of usage out of one or multiple of our tight ends, 45 catches is a lot for a tight end. 584, it's a good amount. 3 touchdowns. I think Carson Brune or Carter Moses or Jalen Butler, like they could get over 3 touchdowns.
I'll say over on the touchdowns, but I'm going to say under on the other, just because I think with the other playmakers Kansas has, with McMillan, Cox, Edwards, Willis is in there, Pickett. I mean, I think that'll be tough to do 4 for 50 every game. Who was the mid-2010s? You already started looking it up. Mid-2010s KU tight end who put up that stat line. Since you're looking it up, tell me the quarterback of that team, or at least the year.
I'm going to guess like 2014.
You're going to guess 2014. Okay.
Just, I don't know, like, who else there would be. All right, let's see. Montel Cozart. Receiving, Nigel King. Oh, Jimmy Mundine.
Jermaine Mundine. He definitely didn't put up these numbers.
Yeah, he did.
What?
45 catches, 584, and 3 touchdowns. Jermaine Mundine.
Wait, how did you get that from 2014? How did you know it was 2014? Right
I didn't.
away?
I just guessed.
Oh, my God. Wow.
He said mid-20.
Great guess by you. Great poll by KU Najee.
I looked up 2015 first, and I didn't see any tight ends with that. So I was like, maybe 2014. So I essentially, I was going mid-2010, so I started at 15, and I started working my way back.
Jermaine Mundine. That was the year before I
2014.
started doing post games. So
that's crazy.
Man,
12 games.
That's a solid stat line, man. Was Cozart the quarterback the majority of the season? I mean, he was in and out.
Montel Cozart, yes. No, sorry. Excuse me, Michael Cummings.
Michael Cummings.
Gosh, what
Shout
a
out.
forgettable. Joe Deneen, by the way, one
year?
completion, 1 attempt.
Nice.
4 or 5 yards.
Nice. Love that.
Passing.
Great questions. All right, then we got another one from from KU Najee.
Yeah.
Similar. Will Dylan Edwards have a better year than 117, 760, 4, plus 21 catches, 291, 2? Which Charlie Weiss era running back put up those stats?
Sims is over 1,000, right?
Well,
He wasn't
Dylan
even in the Charlie
Edwards-
Weiss era. That was Turner Gill.
Will Dylan Edwards have a better year than 117 carries, 760 yards, 4 touchdowns, plus 21 catches, 291, and 2 touchdowns?
Charlie Weiss era.
Why don't you
running
think
back.
about the question first? And
So-
I'm going to be, while you talk, I'm gonna be thinking.
117 carries. That's going to be like, I mean, I think that's a solid area for him to be. Again, I don't know how much of an RBBC it's going to be with him and Yasin Willis. What's the usage going to be like in the carries, right? I'll start off with the receiving. 21 catches, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns. Over on all 3 for Dylan Edwards. Because of the scheme, because of his ability in the pass game. All those are going to be over. This is a 35-40 catch running back that we have with Dylan Edwards. He's going to be over 300 yards easily, over 2 receiving touchdowns easily, without a doubt. 760 yards, I'm going under. I think he's going to be floating around maybe 600. I think it's going to be maybe more evenly split. Not evenly split, but like you're going to see like him go over 1,000. You're going to get about 600 rushing, maybe close to 400 receiving. I think Dylan Edwards is going to be a key in the passing game. 4 touchdowns, yes, probably over that on the rushing as well. 117 carries, that's tough. I think I'm going to go under on the 117 carries. I think it's going to be evenly split down the middle, both Yasin Willis and maybe
that'd
Jalen
be
Dupree.
10 carries a game? You think he goes under that?
Maybe not then. I don't know. All right, fine, I'll go over. Over 10 carries a game. Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. I'll go over on the carries, under on the rushing yards, over on everything else. Which Charlie
All
Weiss
right.
era running back put up the stats, by the way?
You know who I could be way off on this, but I want to say Tony Pearson.
Ooh, good.
Was he Charlie Weiss?
Tony Pearson, 2013.
Hey, I'm off to a good start.
Let's see this guy's stats. They're not available on the KU website, but I have them on Sports Reference right here. Dude, that's a great poll.
Is that who it was?
Yeah,
Let's go.
2012.
I can't see it. What was the number? Oh yeah, 117.
Oh, wow.
In 2012, 117, 760.
His usage went way down. I guess he got hurt in 2013.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2012,
He was that
117,
guy.
760. Man, we're good at this game.
Killed it, man.
Well, I had to look up Jermaine Mundine.
That's true.
But you got Tony Pearson. That's nice.
Jermaine Mundine, that's a nasty.
What a
is
great,
nasty.
what a
I'll take Tony Pearson.
forgettable.
He was a
if
fun
you're watching
video
it's fine.
game back in the last 2014 was the last
Yeah.
college football video game or whatever it was.
Cody, here's the first of our LeBron questions. If LeBron James plays 8 more years with his new team, what will he be averaging per game at 50 years old? I mean, over 10. You think?
If
Could he go over
plays 8 more
10?
years,
Over 10 points a game at 50 years old. I mean, hell, he's over 25 at 40.
I'm saying less.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he would be an end of bench guy 8 years from now.
Sure.
Not like never play, but he would 10
s-
minutes maybe.
You know what would be funny? I'm going to say over because this is how I envision this going down. He plays in 5 games for the somebodies,
Wizards.
the Wizards, let's say that. Plays in 5 games, gets banged up, is a little bit of a player coach, but never gets in the games, never puts himself in the games. But the very last game that he plays is going to be the most unethical hoops ever played in the history of the NBA. Even because remember what happened with Kobe Bryant in his last game? Scored 60 points, but those weren't true 60 points.
Yeah.
Like they were letting him score. That's what would happen with LeBron. So he'll play 5 games.
They were letting him score. He also took
3
60
points in
shots.
each one, and then he'll score 50 points in the last.
Yeah. He took. That was me embellishing, but in a 60-point game, he took 50 shots.
That's crazy.
Legitimate.
Yeah.
23 in the fourth. So
think he was over
may
10.
God rest his soul. Another LeBron question. Colin says, where do you think LeBron's landing spot is?
You and I probably agree with this just because this is the way that the pendulum is swinging, but probably the Warriors,
I'll
right?
be shocked if it's not the Warriors.
I would be too.
I know the Heat and the Cavs are there, supposedly.
Yeah, which, like, I understand that. Like, if he wants to go back to Cleveland, like, they would obviously welcome him with open arms. If he wants to go back to Miami, they would welcome him with open arms, too, and he would be able to get a team up with Giannis. That would be fun. I don't know how much money they have right now.
Believe it or not, there are lines out for this.
Are there
most
really?
likely
Let me
landing
see.
spot.
I guess, what are they?
I just wanted to scroll down to see if the Lakers are still on there. The Lakers are
Even though
still, yeah, they're
He
still
specifically said.
tied for 8th, most likely to land LeBron. Warriors are minus 120. I mean, this to me feels like a collision course. Steph and Bron are gonna. Shout out to LeBron, by the way, getting his son paid before he dipped out.
Yeah.
Minus 120
He's abandoning his child in Los Angeles.
For the Bay Area Warriors, we got Cleveland plus 160. The Heat are plus 300. Spurs plus 1,400.
Oh, my gosh.
Wolves plus 1,800. Nuggets plus 2,500. The Wizards are actually on here, 7th, plus 2,800. And then the Lakers plus 4,000, along with some other teams.
So you and I both agree it's probably going to be the Warriors, and I think the general consensus is that it's at minus 120 right now. Brian asks, would a 2027 team with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Steph Curry be the favorite to win a championship?
No.
But
I bet they would be top 5. They would have to be top 5.
Sure. If they all stay healthy, which Anthony Davis cannot.
Where are the Knicks going to be? So who do we think? Before I look, I bet the Thunder have the shortest odds.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs.
I mean, Knicks got to be.
Then I'm going to go Celtics.
Ooh, over the Knicks.
And then I'll go Heat. And then I'll go Knicks.
Heat?
I'm just guessing.
Why the Heat?
They just got Giannis.
Yeah, but they got you and me playing guards.
Yeah. Do you think the books think that they're going to eventually add to their roster?
They could.
Or do you think they're basing that based on their roster now? Because that would not be a good way for them to.
I don't know. How much more? How much? I don't know how much money they have.
All right. Oh, they've got a Jaylen Brown thing up here too.
Oh, that's fun.
Finals winner. Let's see how far off I was. Okay. Oh my God. The Spurs and the Thunder are co-favorites at plus 270.
Okay.
Celtics plus 700. Knicks at plus 800.
Okay.
You're right. The Heat are further down because then you get the plus 2,500s with the Heat, Raptors, Wolves, Pistons, Nuggets.
What are the Warriors on there right now?
Plus 3,500.
How much does LeBron move that needle?
Just LeBron? Or
LeBron and AD.
There's no way they're going to be worse than like plus 1,000, right? You would think with Steph, LeBron, and AD. So a lot. I would say.
Steph Curry is 38.
Let's look at his stats last year. Let's see how Steph Curry did last year. No, he's 38.
What about look at AD stats last year?
Steph Curry last year averaged 27 per game and shot 39% from 3, which is about what he did the previous year. He has been very consistent.
He has been.
And yeah. I mean,
all right.
Back in the
Draymond comes back
in the
too,
dynasty for the Warriors, he was
Steve
shooting
Kerr's
low
a great
40s.
Coach. Brandon Pajemski, it's fun.
Totally, yeah.
Patrick
Spencer. Pat Spencer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's fun.
Championship.
All right,
I think it'll move at a decent amount.
Not favorite.
LeBron and AD, man. I know they're old, but
the question was favorite, not favorite. They'll be top. I want to say top 7.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go top 5.
I'll
top
say
7.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
John wants to know whose expectations are higher, KU football or KU basketball?
KU basketball.
Yes, I agree. I think with KU football, I think we're going to be fine with a 6-6 year with a bowl game. And that's not crazy of a bar. And like, Kansas fans are smart, which they never really set the bar too high for KU football. Maybe that's just years of being bad. I get it. And I think in terms of pressure, is maybe a little higher for football just because, like, you need to get a bowl game. But in terms of expectations, I mean, it's just a bowl game. Like, they're not expecting them to go to the college football playoffs. Every year, it's national championship or bust in terms of KU basketball. So, yeah, expectations are higher for KU basketball, right?
Yeah. Final Four or bust. Final Four or bust.
All right, Final Four.
Yeah. 2018 is looked at in a positive light.
So you look at Elite Eights as failed years.
Yeah, yes.
They're the most heartbreaking losses, for sure.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if I'll say failed years, but it's very clear, I think, the Final Four versus the years you don't go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Well, QB1 we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, John wants to know football QB1. I mean, your thoughts haven't changed on that. Mine haven't
Not
either.
since yesterday.
Cole Ballard.
I'm
he just has more experience.
I'm just barely because of the depth chart. That's
I'm not
about
even barely, man. I'm like,
yeah, you think it's 75%.
I think it's set in stone. I think it's going to be Cole Ballard no matter what. I think here's the thing. I think we do see all three quarterbacks in the first game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's not crazy.
Yeah.
Thing. I mean, it's going to
That
be Long
happened
Island.
last year, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Long Island.
Exact same as Wagner. You had Daniels for the first half, and then you had Ballard and Marshall. So
that's what I'm saying.
Hopefully, same deal.
So you're going to see all three of them, and maybe it's going to be a feel out kind of deal or whatever. And if KU gets up by a ton, then we'll pull Ballard and put in Marshall. And if KU is tied with Long Island at halftime, maybe we still pull Ballard and put in Marshall. Who knows, right? That'd be interesting. Cole says, with the information in your brain today, how far back could you go to convince people you're from the future?
The information in my brain has gone down since trying to understand this question.
So how far back in time could you go to convince people you're from the future? I think I could do, like, in terms of, like, what I know in, like, terms of history.
This is a you question, so I'm going to let you cook on this.
I bet you I could go back Civil War. That's tough. There's a comedian, Nate Bargatze, who has, like, a great joke about this, where he's like, hey, we have electricity. They're like, oh, show us how it's used. He's like, I don't know. I don't know how, like, phones work or, like, electricity or, like, anything like that really works, and I wouldn't be able to replicate it. Maybe, like, oh, geez, I don't know. But, like, I could go back and be like, hey, like, Franklin Delano Roosevelt wins the election, which, granted, he won it 4 times, so it's not crazy. But I can even go back farther. Like, hey, Abe Lincoln's going to get assassinated by James Wilkes Booth, So I can go back pretty far to convince people that I'm from the future, I think. Just in, like, if I know the right kind of date, or I could be like, hey, 1776, like, if it's, like, July 1st, I'd be like, hey, July 4th, we're going to declare independence. Even though that was already in the news. I bet I could do it.
So what's your final answer?
Mid 1700s.
Okay.
I can go back that far.
All right.
I can go back that far. And
All right, just before America.
Yeah. I mean,
got
get
independence.
Yeah. A little French Revolution kind of talk like that. Josh, he wants to know, Sean, do all beers taste the same?
No, beers do not taste the same unless you're drinking them out of straw. That's the only thing.
The straw is what messed you up.
The straw. That actually is the best performance that you had at the Beer Olympics. You got 2 out of 6.
I know. Nobody else got. So we did a.
Did you qualify in any other Beer Olympic game?
We got killed.
Yeah,
but we did a blind beer testing where we tested 6 beers, and
with straws.
Sean got 0 right. Did you
No,
get one
we got
right?
one.
Oh,
We got one. I think everybody got 1 except you got 2, and then you were feeling good. You needed that win.
I was feeling good. I needed that. I did need
You know
that
what was
one.
really good?
But Sean doubled back on the Michelob Ultra. He's been talking trash on me for years about the fact that I drink Michelobs.
No, I just don't like that you call them Michelobs.
So I'm calling them Michelobs.
Call them
That's what
Ultras.
I'm not going to
It's
call
an
them Ultras.
Ultra. Yeah,
No,
don't call
I'm
them
gonna
Michelobs.
I'm going to call it what it's called.
No,
It's a Michelob.
hey, Anheuser-Busch, man, I support. If they want to
I do
advertise
too.
with us,
That's fair.
that'd be great. Yeah.
All right, Trey wants to know which KU basketball player would win in a hot dog eating contest. I got my 1-1 right now.
Is that Mbia?
Jeff Graves.
Oh, we're talking all time.
Any all-time KU basketball players?
How about James Sisinski?
Ooh, Sisinski keeping him down. I mean, Hunter Mickelson.
Patrick Ritchie.
Oh, no, I got it. Greg Gurley. I think he could be in a hot dog eating contest.
Nico Roberts.
Why Nico Roberts?
I don't know. I just wanted to pull a wild card.
Fair enough.
I mean, as a bookie, he's going to put a few down.
Sean
that's
Collins.
an obvious one.
Well, that's me. I'm not being mean here.
I like Gravy Train. That's a good one.
I mean, it's got to be big, right?
DJ Burns.
Did you already say Udoka? DJ
Yeah,
Burns.
yeah.
You already said Udoka?
Yeah, DJ Burns started his career at KU. Did you know that? Redshirt
DJ Burns, no.
from NC State.
That's not true.
He had a redshirt year here.
That's not true.
No, he didn't play.
That's not true.
Um,
Yeah. But, yeah.
You had to
talk about a guy
you
who
had to
can...
talk yourself out of that, right?
Yeah, you had me there for a second. Talk about a guy
Kenneth
who
Lofton Jr. Shout out to
I
Louisiana
bet
Tech.
Dedrick Lawson could put down some hot dogs.
Who are some other guys we're missing? Mickelson's a good poll.
Yeah. You know what? Michael Jankovic, I think he could put down some dogs. You don't think so? Clay Young?
It's got to be a big.
Man, remember
gotta
Clay
be
Young
big.
when
Yeah.
he started at the 5 for Kansas for like 2 games?
Oh, man.
That was a disaster. He was like 6'4".
Landon Lucas could probably put some hot dogs down.
Yeah, I bet he could.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
good
a good question. Tyler wants to know your top 5 sports scandals. I mean, we can just go like 1.
The Montreal screw job.
The
Bret
Montreal
Hart
screw
got
job.
screwed by Vince McMahon. Nobody informed back in '97
It's good.
that he was actually going to lose the match. It's not cool. Vince McMahon, get out of here.
That's good.
Shout out to Shawn Michaels, by the way,
What about
who's
the-
my favorite wrestler of all
My
time.
favorite one of my favorite ones is the frozen envelope theory with Patrick Ewing and the Knicks. You heard about that one? In the draft lottery, they apparently took the Knicks envelope, put it in a freezer, and they made it cold. And so David Stern knew he could feel it by how cold it was, which envelope was the Knicks. And so he would pull that out because they wanted a big name star to go to their biggest place, which is New York. I like that one. The MJ one where the baseball hiatus was actually a suspension for gambling stuff.
Yeah.
That's an
Pete
interest-
Rose on
But
that
these
front.
are conspiracy theories, I guess. They're not really scandals.
Yeah. I mean, scandal, Deflategate.
Yeah, but that one's overblown. I
think?
I think
No
I
pun
think that was
intended?
I think that was an overcorrection for not bringing the hammer down enough on Spygate. That's to me what Deflategate always was. Deflategate is also really stupid. And again, I'm not like a Patriots apologist. Like I hate the Patriots. I hate Tom Brady. But like that shouldn't have been the biggest story. The biggest story should have been the Spygate. Yeah, that's my thing. Did we name 5?
Spygate's a good one. Probably.
Trey brought one up. He said back in the 70s there was 2 Yankee players who just swapped wives and like dogs and houses and everything. It was crazy. So that's
I don't know much
interesting.
about that, but I might have to Google it.
Yeah. Piper said, how many NFL players can you name?
Equinemius St. Brown.
We're not going to name them, but
Okay.
give me a number. How many NFL players
I think
right
we just
now can
name
you
them
name?
back and forth, man.
Okay.
Marquez
Am I
Valdez
blanking?
Scantling.
Good one.
Bo Nix.
Sure.
Dick Butkus.
Hold on. Oh, man. Oh,
I'm out.
current. Let's
That's
go
all I
current.
got.
Let's go current.
Current only? Okay.
How many, legitimately, give me a number. How many current NFL players, Don Pooney?
Najee Harris.
No. Just,
I think that's it.
that's all you got in the chamber? Okay, so realistically, I'm going to break this down based off of how many I can. Probably name close to 45 of the 53 guys on the Chiefs roster right now.
Let's go back and forth Chiefs roster.
Okay.
See how many we can get.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, but Patrick Mahomes the second I will start with.
Okay.
You can go.
All right. You get Patrick Mahomes the second.
You're going Rashee Rice?
Yes, Rashee Rice count. Rashee Rice, yeah.
Xavier Worthy.
Sure. Tyquan Thornton.
Drew Tranquil.
Creed Humphrey.
James Winchester.
Ooh, nice. Harrison Butker.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, that's good. Brashad Smith.
Is Matt Ariza still our punter?
I think he is.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Ariza. That's a good poll. I'm gonna go with Mansour Delane.
Peter Woods.
Nice, big one. Trey Smith.
R. Mason Thomas.
Nice. Chris Jones.
Travis
We can do
Kelce.
this all day, by the way.
We haven't done Kelsey yet.
No, we haven't done.
He's
Kelce
like
yet.
16th on
I'm
our
saving
list.
him on my. That was my dark horse.
I said Kelsey.
Sure. Okay, we could probably name 45 of the 53.
Maybe. It would take
on
us
the
a while.
Chiefs roster.
Yeah, we couldn't do it in this segment because there's too much pressure.
But
yes.
realistically, like how many other, like every single other, on average, you could probably name 20.
So how many on each team could you name?
I'm floating around 15 to 20.
No, I don't think there's any way.
You think it's that high?
No, I don't think it's that high. No, I think
10?
10
Okay.
is probably.
I mean,
so
even that-
so there's 32 teams, so that's 320 plus add 30 more for the Chiefs, 350.
Yeah. I think 300. I think we can
Yeah.
each individually name 350 NFL players.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's a good.
I like how Equinemius St. Brown was your first pick.
That's a good. And then I got Najee Harris, and then I was done. I didn't have anything else. But yeah, appreciate everybody sending in those questions. We love our KU Mailbag segment every Wednesday here on Rock Chalk Sports. After this, though, we're going back to the KU football talk as we talk about Long Island, the Sharks. They got a win over an FBS opponent to start last year. That's next. ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. At Kansas Nation, you can visit them online at HeinenOPE.com. They've got 2026 models in stock, a great selection, and you can find them in a couple different locations, but here locally in Lawrence, 1795 East 1500 Road here in Lawrence. Again, 1795 East 1500 Road in Lawrence. They've got lawnmowers, they've got side-by-sides, whatever it is that you need, they've got over at Heinen. Again, HeinenOPE.com, partners of us here at Kansas Nation. Well, we're going to take a look at the KU football schedule now. We did positional group outlook. The first game for KU football, first of 3 in the non-con, is against the Long Island Sharks, who are the FCS opponent for, is that a thing?
Yeah, it's their thing.
Oh.
Fins up.
Long Island? That's what they do?
Yeah, they do that.
How about that? First of 3 in the non-con for KU. They get Long Island, and then they get Missouri. Both of those are Friday games, 7 o'clock at the booth. Then they have that weird trip across the pond to London to open Big 12 play, 11 a.m. against Arizona State on September 19th. The week off is after that. KU will travel back home from London, and then they'll close out their non-conference portion of the regular season with a game against Middle Tennessee, which is brought to you by our new friends over at Meritrust Credit Union.
Right.
How about that? They are sponsoring that game October 3rd against Middle Tennessee. So 2 in the non-con, then you go to London to face ASU to open Big 12 play. Back home, you finish non-con against Middle Tennessee. So Long Island, of course, not as easy to find information on them, a small FCS school. But what I can tell you is that last year in their opener, they picked up their first ever victory over an FBS opponent. They went up to Ypsilanti and knocked off Eastern Michigan 28-23. This was 1 week after they started the season with a 55-0 loss at Florida. So the Sharks, who were big underdogs against Eastern Michigan, never actually trailed in that game, and they won 28-27. In that one, they had 479 yards of total offense. Most of that was done on the ground, and they also had the ball for nearly 2/3 of the game. No turnovers, and penalized only 3 times. So we'll tell you a little bit more about Long Island in 2025, but they got on the board picking up an FBS win, which is just a terrible way to start a season, unfortunately, as we've known a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my gosh, Nicholls State. That was one. The Jackrabbits, San Diego State. Or no, South Dakota State.
South Dakota State, yeah.
That was a tough one, too.
They went 6-6. Long Island did last year, 4-3 in the Northeast. But, yeah, FCS team that of course, is coming to Lawrence with probably low expectations, and KU gets a chance to get off on the right foot.
I would think so. I mean, Ron Cooper, he's their head coach, and he's done a really good job over there with that program. If you look at what they did last year, I have some stats on them. So they really ran kind of a 2-quarterback system, if you will. Ethan Greenwood was the quarterback with the most yards, but not the most attempts. Actually, Luca Stanzani, he is the quarterback with the most attempts, but he had less yards than Ethan Greenwood. Greenwood, he had 92 attempts, 52 completions for 645 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Meanwhile, Luca Stanzani, he had 66 completions, 114 attempts, 562 yards, also 3 picks and 3 interceptions. Chris Howell also played a little bit. He had 26 completions, 278, 4 interceptions, only 1 touchdown over there. But Ethan Greenwood has now since entered the transfer portal, so Luca Stanzani, I would imagine, is going to be their number 1 starter. He is still on the roster. Again, 562 last year, 3 touchdowns. Not a lot of stuff coming out of there, but they also had a relatively evenly split running game because all of these guys, they really like to do it on their legs as well. Ethan Greenwood and Luca Stanzani, they were 2nd and 3rd respectively in terms of rushing yards for Long Island last year. O'Shawn Ross Jr. was their number one kind of bell cow guy. 158 carries, 852 yards last year as a junior, but he winds up going to the transfer portal as well. They're bringing back Cam Ingram, who had 38 carries, 182 yards last year. No touchdowns for them. But Lucas Danzani, by the way, had 7 rushing touchdowns, only 3 passing touchdowns. So kind of a dual threat guy. Again, they had a 2-quarterback system last year, but now you're really going to be focused in on one with Lucas Danzani really winning that job and then Ethan Greenwood heading to the transfer portal. So they're having some guys who are coming back to Long Island. It'd be interesting to see. In terms of their receiving, last year, not a lot of big numbers put up. Deion Richardson was their number 1 receiver with 339 yards, no touchdowns. He was a senior last year, so he would no longer be playing. They had Jaden Simpson, who was a freshman last year. He had 25 receptions for 291 yards and 1 touchdown. He's going to be their number 1 guy through the air. But if you're looking at what Long Island's going to do, this is what I would imagine the game plan would be doing. If I was a head coach of an FCS program and I had a dual threat quarterback and a running back who's only had 38 carries last year, but no real returners in terms of the receiving aspect of the game, this is what I would do. I would just try to burn clock and run the hell out of the football.
That's what they did against EMU last year.
That's what I'm saying. So, why wouldn't you try to do that against Kansas once again? So this is going to be a big game in terms of the defensive line, getting those stops, the linebackers, the outside linebackers, the corners crashing in, getting those open field tackles, because you have Lucas Stanzani, who is a really nice dual threat quarterback. Like I said, Stanzani, he had 350 yards last year, 7 touchdowns on the ground alone, right? So this is a guy who can do it on his legs as well as through the air, but more than likely going to be doing it on the ground. So again, when you're looking at this Kansas defense, it's really going to be, they're going to be honing in on, hey, stop the run game, because that's what Long Island's going to be doing, is they're going to be running the ball, trying to run the ball down KU's throats, and Kansas needs to get those 3-and-out stops.
Long Island actually will play the week prior on August 27th. It's a Thursday game at North Dakota. So they will have a game in the rearview mirror. So, do with that what you will. But, yeah, obviously we're not going to know a ton about them. They do have a player by the name of Todd Bowles Jr. Dan, trivia. Do you know who Todd Bowles Jr.'s dad is?
Let me think.
Rex Ryan.
I was going to say Bill Belichick.
Rex Ryan is the correct answer.
That makes sense.
Head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles.
Cool.
His son is a defensive back for the Long Island Sharks. So, yeah, that kicks things off for Kansas football Friday, September 4th. Yes, we've got 2 Friday games to start things off, and sometimes that's just how it goes with TV output and that sort of thing. But the Sharks, fresh off their first ever victory over an FBS opponent, will try to do that for the 2nd consecutive season when they come to town.
Question for you. If you were to you're not a gambling man, but if you were to put money down on a first touchdown for Kansas, who do you think it's going to be? It's a good question.
Give me Cam Pickett.
Again? Okay. I like it.
Just because he did it last year. Why not?
He did it twice last year.
Yeah.
Well, he scored the first 2. And you didn't really see a lot of him after that, but
you know what would make for good radio is if I ask you the same question and you also pick Cam Pickett.
I'm not going to.
Okay,
you know who I'm going to pick?
go with?
You know who I'm going to pick?
No, I don't.
This is going to be crazy. Give me a tight end of some capacity.
That sounds
Give
specific.
me. I almost want to say Leighton Cure, but I'm not going to say Leighton Cure.
He's going to go with Carter Moses.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Carter Moses.
Yeah.
Carter Moses gets the first touchdown for the University of Kansas this year. Either that or it's going to be, no. I take it back. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be a Cole Ballard rush.
Okay.
That's going to be my guess. Cole Ballard. Kansas gets all the way down to the 2-yard line. Cole Ballard, little bootleg, just walks it in.
Tate Nagy punt return. That'd be fun.
What about a Dylan Edwards kick return to open up the game?
What about a pick six? What about a scoop and score?
Oh, man.
Have we covered every possible scoring touchdown? We haven't done passing to outside
the first
guy.
points could potentially be Martin Connington.
Could be a safety.
Could be a safety.
Let's get out of this segment. More coming up here on Rock Chalk Sports, closing it down on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com.
I'm Keith Langford.
Big shout out to Trey Myers and Tyler Brewer behind the cameras helping out Elijah Schmidt today. Appreciate their assistance as we close down Rock Chalk Sports on this Wednesday. Tomorrow will be a lot of fun. Of course, a lot of soccer talk, a lot of cup checks tomorrow.
A lot of cup checks.
A lot of cup checks tomorrow as we're talking USA, we're talking Team Algeria.
I wake up every day and I go, how many cup checks can I get?
Yeah, well, you're going to have a lot these next couple days. There's no doubt about that as we are in it. Of course, Friday, Ghana, Colombia is in Kansas City as well. So be tuned in for all the coverage that you need on the World Cup. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. Learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas. Member FDIC. Did you want to chime in?
I have something here.
Okay.
It's an interesting article posted on On3. The article name is CBS Sports ranks best all-around athletic programs after 2025-2026 season. Kansas has made their way into the top 25 in terms of all the success that they've had. And other aspects, obviously softball was good this year. Baseball was, top 10 team for
Kansas,
majority
they get
of the
into
year.
the top 25.
Basketball, football, everything. Kansas is actually sitting right at 25. Number one, which I don't know if this is really a surprise, it's Texas, just because of the fact that their baseball team is good, their softball team won the national championship, right? They're really, they like win swim and dive every single year, so all around, it certainly makes sense. Alabama, surprisingly, is number 2. They didn't win any national championships of the 6 sports, but they've consistently made postseason runs. Michigan, number 3, Texas A&M 4, Nebraska, shockingly, is at number 5. I think basketball might have helped that a little bit. But yeah, KU right now, they're number 25 on this On3 article. For what it's worth, Kansas State, 57, and Missouri, 59.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's music to my
ears.
eyes.
Music to my ears. We both said the same thing, except you said eyes.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I guess.
It's music
Do you
to my
like
eyes.
watching music?
Yeah, I'll read it from time to time.
Music videos?
Yeah.
That
I'll
works.
just read,
That works.
some sheet
15,014 people had the displeasure of going to the Royals game last night and seeing the Royals lose 10-4 to the Rays. You see all those things on social media of like when Trout and Ohtani both were playing for the Angels, and it was like Mike Trout does this, Ohtani. That's what it's turned into. Bobby Witt Jr. hits 2 homers last night, and the Royals lose 10-4. 3 for 4, 3 batted in. He'll be going to the All-Star game. He hopefully will break through and start in the All-Star game, as that was, believe, 11 and 12 for Bobby in terms of homers. Carter Jensen extended his hitting streak to 20 games. He hit a homer as well to lead off the game, so he's been on fire. But otherwise, it's just a disaster. And we talked about this with Lesky yesterday. InsideTheCrown.substack.com. Nothing's going right. Chris Bubich supposedly is now going to be shut down for a little bit as he was scratched from a rehab start. I think the Royals are the writing's on the wall. They're seeing what's going on, and I guess enjoy what you can out of Witt and Jensen, and Caglione's been hot too. You've had a good season from a guy like Michael Massey too, and that's kind of gone, been swept under the rug just because of all the struggles, and now it's turned into a full-fledged, we can't pitch after not being able to hit either. So it's not been fun.
Well, the pitching staff, that is really the key part of it right now, and I don't know. I guess if you have any thoughts on this, but like the MLB draft coming up, like where do the Royals look at right away? Do they use their first few picks just trying to get some young arms?
I think you gotta go pitching. It's frustrating. The Royals have done that in the past, and a lot of players just haven't turned into what they were hoping. But right now, one of the Royals' top prospects is Blake Mitchell. Looking at this the other day, Royals had 2 in the top 100, and those 2 were Carter Jensen and Blake Mitchell, both who are catchers. And we talked about that. The Royals actually do have a good lineage, hopefully, in terms of the catching position when Salvi moves on. But otherwise, it's been a lot of bad picks, honestly. And they've been able to develop a few guys, but otherwise, it's not been good. I think load up on as many arms as you can. And as Lesky says, if you get 10 guys who can maybe throw high 90s, maybe 3 of them will stick, and then you have something. But
certainly
long way to go. Game 2 against the Rays is tonight. Again, shout out to Trey Myers and Tyler Brewer helping out Elijah Schmidt, who's our technical director here at Kansas Nation. For Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying we'll see you tomorrow from 4 to 6 for another edition of Rock Chalk Sports, getting you ready for your holiday weekend. Thanks for tuning in on ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com.